You have heard a long, complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down to try to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance.
Chewing gum? Gum?
Thank you, but no.
Anybody want some gum? You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in advertising.
You know it's hot here.
I never would have known that if you hadn't told me. Would you?
I suppose not. I've kind of forgotten.
All I've done all day is perspire.
Well, I bet you weren't perspiring like that boy who was tried. Well, they can at least air condition the place.
My taxes are high enough.
Well, this should go fast anyway.
Yes, it's hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's here. If there's anything you'll need, I'll be right outside. Just knock.
Did he lock that door?
Yes, he did.
Well, what do they think we are? Crooks?
They locked us in here for a little while.
Oh, and then they locked that boy up forever, which is all right with me.
I never knew they did that.
Yeah, sure, they locked the door. What'd you expect?
I just didn't know.
Shall we all admit right now that it is hot and humid and our tempers are short?
It's been a pretty hard week.
Well, I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in advertising? In 6 days, my job could be gone. The whole company, too. They aren't going to like this.
Well, I think this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Well, ask her to help. She's rich. I bet her husband can get you a wonderful job. Look at that outfit.
Is it an original?
Yes, it is.
I have an aunt who makes dresses.
Oh, how does she do?
Not too well. A friend of hers, which is a friend of my aunt's, the dressmaker, she was on a jury once, just like this one, about 10 years ago.
So what happened?
They let him off, reasonable doubt. They found out that 8 years later, he actually done it. A guilty man, a murderer, turned loose in the streets.
How horrible. Well, did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
No one can be held in a double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't try anyone twice for the same crime.
Well, that isn't going to happen here. Well, you're right. 6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. Suppose you can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? You ever in your life hear such a story?
He bought it that night, and then he claimed he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
Kids.
An awful way to kill your father. A knife in his chest.
Well, look, you gotta expect that with what we're dealing with here. You know him.
What's the matter with you? You got a cold or something?
I tell you, these hot weather colds can kill you.
Yeah, I know. I had one last year. On my vacation, too.
All right, people, let's take our seats.
Yes, let's. I got tickets to the Yankees game tonight. My wife and I must be the only couple in the whole world that haven't seen them play this season. All right, Johanna, start your show.
How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window? How about sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's hard to figure, isn't it? A boy kills his father. Just like that. I tell you, it's that child delinquency. People let their kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There's No point in getting emotional about it. It's a question of evidence, not how we feel.
We all agreed it was hot.
Yeah, well, either way, this thing is open and shut. Let's get it done.
All right, you people can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules or anything. We can vote now and then discuss it. That's one way. Or we can just vote right now and see how we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Does anyone object?
That was easy.
Okay. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 for guilty. Not guilty?
Say, what's the matter with you?
11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe that boy's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is ABC.
I don't believe this is as simple as ABCs.
Well, I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? Are we to vote on his face?
Well, you sat right in court and heard the same things as I did. That boy's a dangerous killer. You could see it in his face.
Where do you look to see if somebody's a killer?
Well,
No, I would like to know. What are the facial characteristics of a murderer? Perhaps you know something I don't know.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
well, that's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest. An innocent little 19-year-old murderer.
Look, I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's try to avoid emotionally colored conflicts, yes?
All right, well, they proved it in court a dozen different ways. You want me to list them?
No, I don't.
Well, do you believe the stupid story the boy told?
Now.
Do you believe the boy's story?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to just raise my hand and send a boy off to die without at least talking about it
Well,
first.
who says it was easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard one.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
The boy's guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I'm not trying to change your mind.
Well, then what are you trying to do?
I just want to talk a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life. Living in a slum, his mother dead since he was 9. He's a tough, angry boy. And you know why slum children get that way? Because we beat them over the head all the time. I think we owe him a few words, that's all.
All right. Life's hard. It was hard for me. Everything we've got, my husband and I fought for. I worked my way through college where I met him. That was a long time ago. Perhaps you do forget, but I fought, and my husband fought, but neither of us killed anyone.
Yeah, I know what hard luck's like too, but I never killed nobody either.
Hey, I've been kicked around too. Wait till you worked in an ad agency and the guy who orders the advertising walks in.
In my country and Europe, picking buzz is science. But let's try to find something a little bit better than that.
Look, I don't mind telling you this, brother. We don't owe that boy nothing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know how much that cost? We're all grown-ups here, and you're not going to tell us we need to believe them, knowing how they are. You know that.
No, I don't know that. What a terrible thing to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? There's not a monopoly on the truth.
All right. All right, save it for Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
This man says is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to behave like civilized adults.
Right.
Certainly, if you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss this case, why, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good idea. We have a job to do. Let's do it.
If you people don't mind, I'm going to close the window.
I'd like to have the window open.
But it was blowing on me.
Don't you want a little air? It's hot in here. It's summer.
Though I was very uncomfortable.
There are 12 of us in the room. It's the only window that opens.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade seats with someone at the other end of the table?
Fine. I will keep the window open if somebody's willing to trade.
Here, take my seat.
Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case now?
Right, let's get going here.
I may have an idea now. I'm just thinking out loud, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this guy that we're right and he's wrong. Maybe if we each talk a minute or two, try it out for size.
That sounds fair.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table?
All right, let's start it off.
Right. I guess you're first.
Oh, well, I guess I just thought he was guilty because it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
That nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. It's innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. You know that? It's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've read it.
Everyone has. Well, sure, I've heard of it. I know what it is. It's just, I just think he's guilty.
No reasons, just guilty. There is a life at stake here.
Well, all right, then let's get to the facts. Number one, let's take the old man who lived in the apartment directly underneath the room where the murder took place. And about 10 minutes after 12, on the night of the killing, the old man said he heard loud noises coming from the upstairs apartment. It sounded like a fight. Then he heard the boy say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." Then he heard the father's body hit the floor. The old man went out into the hall and saw the boy running down the stairs and out of the house. So then the old man called the police, and they found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time at around midnight.
All right. So what more do you want?
It just doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's whole story is flimsy. He claimed he went to the movies, and that's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what pictures he saw.
Well, that's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
He didn't have any ticket stub.
No, who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
Well, that's true enough. Well, sure, but the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Yeah, and what about the lady across the street? If her testimony don't prove anything, then nothing can.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
People, let's go in order.
Now hold on a minute. Here's a lady who's lying in bed. It's hot, you know. Anyways, she's tossing and turning, she rolls over, and right across the street she sees the boy knife his father.
Yes, I heard her swear to that.
And they proved it in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train and see what's going on the other side. They proved it.
May I ask you something? Weren't you just telling us a minute ago that you can't trust them, that you can't believe them?
So?
So why don't I ask you something else? How come you believe the woman? She's one of them, isn't she?
You're a pretty smart fella, ain't
Take
you?
it easy.
Hey now. What are you letting him get you all worked up for? Sit down, relax.
Any need for arguing like this? I think we ought to continue on with the case.
Yes, I agree. Well, suppose they did take us out to the sighting of the killing, didn't they?
Yes, they took us out to that woman's room. We looked through the windows of the passing L train.
Yes, we did.
Now, couldn't you see what was happening on the other side?
Well, I wasn't able to see as well as they told me, but I was able to see what happened on the other side.
You do see, don't you?
Let's take it easy. It's your turn. I'll pass it. That's your privilege. How about you?
I don't know. What convinced me was the testimony of the people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I can be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
Ha, that's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then they saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right.
But what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I never said it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of this has already been said already. We can talk all day about this. I think we're just wasting our time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Please just go on.
Let's look at the boy's record. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he even stabbed someone in the arm.
They did.
At age 15, he was in a reform school for stabbing somebody.
Did you hear that? They put him in a reform school for stabbing somebody.
This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, he was beaten regularly by his father.
I
He
would
used his
too.
fists.
On a boy like that. Well, if I couldn't, I'd sure see that his father did.
You're right. It's the kids these days. The way they are, you know. They don't listen. When I was a boy, I used to call my father Sir. Did you ever hear a boy call his father Sir anymore? I got a kid. When he was 8 years old, I caught him running away from a fight. I was so ashamed I could have thrown up. But I told him, I'm going to make a man out of you, even if I got to bust you up into little pieces trying. And then when he was 15, he hit me, his own father, in the face. Well, he's a big kid, you know. I haven't seen him in 3 years. I think I'm better off, too. A rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and then... Well, anyway, let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's admit, is a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. And we can't help that. We're not here to go into reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it, and so do you. Children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of it. Believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now hold on a minute.
I used to play in a backyard filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
No, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal!
Oh, hey now, take it easy. He didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Well, then whom did he mean?
I can understand his sensitivity.
Let's stop this bickering.
We're wasting time.
It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough enough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
Well, it doesn't change my mind on the guilt of the boy. I agree with you. The defense counsel was very bad.
So?
This is a point.
Well, what about the facts?
So many questions were left unanswered.
What about the questions that were answered? For example, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. The one that fine, upright boy admitted buying.
Right. Let's talk about it. Why don't we get it in here and look at it? Madam Foreman?
We already saw the thing in court. I don't see why we gotta look at it again. What do you think?
He has the right to see exhibits and evidence.
Fine by me.
Now, this switch knife, it's a pretty strong piece of evidence. Don't you agree?
I do.
So let's try to get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
At 8 o'clock, the boy admits running out of his house after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. The boy went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper arrested the following day after admitting selling it to the boy.
And I think we all agree that it's a pretty unusual knife. It's hard to forget something like that.
Yes, the storekeeper identified it and said it was the only one he had left in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
He got it for a present for a friend of his or something like that.
Now, am I right so far?
Right.
You bet she's right. Now, you listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.
Okay, next, on the way home, the boy claimed that the knife must have fallen through a hole in his pocket. He claimed that he never saw it again. Now, there's the story, ladies and gentlemen. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home and a few hours later stabbed his father in it with a check. And even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected to the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked the knife up off the street, went to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a different person could have come in and stabbed the father with a similar knife. I'm saying that it's possible.
Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife, and I've never seen one like it before in my life. Now, aren't you trying to make this accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept anything. I'm just trying to say that it's possible.
Well, I'm saying it's not possible. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what is this? Who do you think you are?
Look at it. It's the same knife.
Quiet! Let's be quiet. Where did you get it?
I got it at a little junk store across the corner from the boy's house. It cost $10.
Now you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a pretty smart trick there, mister, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied, and you know it.
Maybe he didn't lie. Maybe the knife did fall through a hole in his pocket. Maybe he did go to the movies. You know, maybe the reason the cashier didn't recognize him was because he snuck in. He's just ashamed to say so. Haven't any of you ever snuck into the movies when you were young?
I didn't.
Really? Not even once.
We didn't have movies.
I see.
Maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe he didn't. And yes, he may have lied. You think he lied?
No, that's a dumb question. You know he lied.
What about you? Do you think he lied?
But you don't have to ask me that question. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
No, wait a second. What are you, the boy's lawyer? There's still 11 of us who think he's guilty. Why don't we bring it in to the judge and let the boy take his chances with 12 other jurors? He'll be found guilty, sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
Of course I'm right. What are you going to do about it?
You know, I'll make a proposition. I would like the 11 of you to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. There are still 11 votes for guilty. I won't stand alone. We're calling for a guilty verdict right now. Does anybody agree?
Sure, let's do it.
I agree. It's the only way.
Perhaps this is best. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. Guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
Well, who was it? What idiot changed their vote?
Is that any way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are we talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know.
Who? So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot.
Oh, nobody looked while we did it, but now I want to know. Who?
A secret ballot. We agreed on this point. No, if the person wants it to remain a secret.
What do you mean, secret? There are no secrets in here. And besides, I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty like the rest of us, and then this slick preacher starts to tear your heart out with stories of a poor little boy who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. Now, if that isn't the most sickening...
Now hold it! I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it, be fair? That's just what I'm talking about. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Now, just a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Organized people.
But we're not organized. Let's try to be civilized.
Please. I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a person was entitled to have their own unpopular opinions in this country. That is one of the reasons why I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually I would, but in this one case I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is, well, in my own country, I am ashamed to say.
Oh, now what do we have to listen to? The whole history of your country?
It's always wise to bear in mind what happens in other countries when their people aren't allowed to disagree, but we are. So let's stick to the subject.
Yes, let's stick to the subject. I want to know. What made you change your vote?
I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
What makes you think I did change my vote?
Because I do. Now, go on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
I was going to tell you, but you seem so sure of yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, now.
Maybe you'd like to know why?
Well, let me tell you why. This
Let
boy's
the
a...
lady talk. Thank you. This man chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for support, and I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2.
That's fine. The speech is over. Can we go on now?
If there's anything in the boys' favor, I'd vote not guilty. I don't see what is. Neither do I. They're clutching at straws. As guilty as they get, that's the boy, I suppose. Just that one juror that's holding out. He'll come around. He's got to. Fundamentally, he's a very reasonable person. I guess so. Haven't come up with one guilty action to support not guilty verdict. It's hard, you know. Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean? What is a reasonable doubt? Exactly. Well, life is at stake. You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. And if you don't, we'll start going around knifing each other. Not much doubt here. Two people think so. And I wonder why. I really just wonder why. You do hear stories about innocent people who go to jail or even death sometimes, and years later things turn up. Yes, but then on the other hand, you hear about killers that get turned loose. They squeeze it on some technicality and they do it again.
Look, lady, now that we kind of calmed down a little, I got a little excited a minute ago. I didn't mean to get nasty. It's nothing personal.
Think nothing of it.
Look, supposing you answer me this. If the boy didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we're concerned with figuring out whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anybody else's motives.
I suppose, but who else would have had a motive?
Oh, I don't know. Father was along in his years. Maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
No, everybody's a lawyer. So now supposing you tell us what your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. Yes, a feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't understand.
A feeling? What are we gonna do? Spend the night talking about your feelings?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Look, the old man said he heard the boy say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling, and then he saw the kid running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right. And let's not forget about the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
No, if that's not enough for you...
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you?
How do you like him? It's like talking into a dead phone.
Just don't see anything which points to a guilty or not guilty verdict. I think we need to talk about it more.
Anybody want to play tic-tac-toe? Might as well pass the time.
This is not a game.
Now, wait a minute.
This is a man's life.
Who do you think you are?
All right, let's take it easy, you two.
Well, I've got a good mind to walk around this table and punch that guy.
Now, please. I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see that? The nerve of him. The absolute nerve.
All right, it don't mean anything.
This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, I suppose we were.
So?
All right. Now, how long does it take an elevated train moving at top speed to pass a given point?
What has this got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Just guess.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
What about you?
About 10 or 12 seconds. Maybe.
10 or 12 seconds. Anybody else?
I would say about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes. All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you giving us?
This. It takes 10 seconds for an L train moving at top speed to pass a given point. Now that given point is the window in which the killing took place. This window, you can almost reach your hand out and touch the L train as it's going by, right?
That's right. I tried it.
Alright. So now let me ask you this. How many of you have lived next to the L tracks?
I've lived close to them.
Those trains make a lot of noise, don't they? When they're going by, your window is open, noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
You can't hear yourself think. Where are you bringing us here?
The old man said that he was in bed at the time of the killing. Now, according to the testimony of the old woman, that L train had been going by for at least 6 seconds before the body fell. That means that that old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," with the front of an L train roaring by his open window. I don't think it's possible that he could have heard it.
Well, what do you mean? Sure it's possible. He could have heard it.
With the front of an L train roaring by?
Well, you said the kid yelled it out.
An L makes a lot of noise.
Well, that's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
What's the matter with you? You're crazy. You calling the old man a liar? What's he got to gain by lying?
Attention. Maybe.
Oh, you keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one into a newspaper? They pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just, I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was torn under the arm. Did you notice that? A very old man with a torn jacket who carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all of his life. No name in the newspapers. After 75 years, nobody knows him. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be heard, to be quoted just once. This is very important.
So you're trying to tell us that the old man lied about a thing like this just to be important?
He didn't necessarily lie, but perhaps he made himself believe he heard those words and saw the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic thing I've ever heard. How could you make something like that up?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about stuff like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
Is there anything else?
Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Does anybody want a cough drop?
Come on, let's get on with it.
I'll take one. Thank you. Now, one more question about the old man. I'm pretty sure we're convinced that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him out anyway.
However, let's say the old man really did hear that phrase. This phrase, "I'm going to kill you." How many times have each of you used it? Probably hundreds. You do that one more time, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Or you hear your husband say, "Kill him, Rocky, kill him." We use this phrase all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to kill someone.
Well, don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
And one thing more. The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." The kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
And now don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody says that the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
Then I'd like to ask you this. After doing something as heinous as murder, would he really shout out something like that so the whole neighborhood could hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Bright? He is a common, ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
What made you change your mind?
There's a doubt.
Where? Where is the doubt?
There's the knife.
Oh, fine.
Well, go on, give us the reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie. maybe, just maybe, he did. Maybe the old man doesn't like the boy.
Well, if that isn't the end.
There is a reasonable doubt.
What are you, basing it on stories that this man told? Listen, the boy had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't you bring all these points up in the case?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, brother, you sit here and pull stories out of thin air. Now we're not supposed to believe that the old man didn't get up, run to his door, and see the boy running downstairs 15 seconds after the killing?
That's the story.
And the old man swore to this, yes? He swore to this only to get attention.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked. What's the difference? He got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went. Yes, I remember correctly now. He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. Now that is enough, isn't it?
Where was the old man's bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall? Are we to send a boy off to die because his bedroom was down the hall somewhere?
Thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember this?
No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
It's down the hall somewhere.
Why don't we have him run the case all over again just so you can get your facts straight?
Please. Do you know? Do you really know where it is down the hall?
Well,
a man may die. Do you know?
No.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment. Madam Foreman?
I heard.
All right. What's this one for? How come you're the only one who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
So do I.
Well, I want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No, we're not. We're going to figure out how an old man who walks with 2 canes and had 2 strokes in the past 3 years can walk to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How can anybody judge that sort of thing? How does he know what 15 seconds is?
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
He's an old man. Half the time in court he was confused. You saw that. How can he be positive about anything? Well, you know.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know.
For over 50 years, Tufco has been a supplier of tires and services for the mines of northeastern Minnesota. As an independent company located south of Eveleth, Tufco appreciates the virtue of being part of the Iron Range economy and is a proud supporter of youth activities on the range. JM Auto Service, your complete car care center and Western Plow headquarters. With certified auto service and AAA approved auto repair, it's JM Auto, located on Highway 53 in Eveleth, where customers drive our service. John's Drug, located in beautiful downtown Eveleth. You can get what you need at John's Drug, a family-run community pharmacy and full-service store. John's Drug, an anchor business in downtown Eveleth. Keenan's Television and Appliances has been part of downtown Eveleth for over 60 years. Keenan's has complete sales, parts, and service of home appliances and is a factory-authorized service center for all major appliances. Keenan's, where customer service is top priority.
Is this what you wanted?
That's all right. Thank you.
Sure, that's my job.
Here's the diagram.
Yes, please.
Do me a favor. Wake me up.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Please go ahead.
All right. This is the diagram of the apartment. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks. Inside of the apartment is the bedroom, a small hallway, a living room, kitchen, bathroom, and here is the main hallway. Now, the old man said that he was in bed here at the time of the killing. He says he got up, got his canes, walked to his bedroom door, opened the door, walked through the hallway to his front door, and opened it just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
Right.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
Correct.
Now, like I said, the old man slept in this room. Now, it looks like 12 feet from the length of the bed to the length to the bedroom door. It's 43 feet, 6 inches from one end of the hallway to the other. You know what that means? That means that that old man had to get up, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open his bedroom door, walk 43 feet, 6 inches to the front door, and open the door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
Well, he would have been in a hurry. He did hear the boy scream.
He can only walk very slowly, as they had to help him into his witness chair.
Well, you make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk.
What are you doing?
I want to see if we can try this thing. I want to see how long it took him to get to his front door.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps if we could see it, this is an important point.
This is a ridiculous waste of time.
Let him do it.
Well, I can't see any harm in it. It's foolish, but let him go, I guess.
All right, hand me that chair, please. Now, I've paced off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom. That chair represents his bedroom door. No, excuse me, that chair represents his bed. This chair represents his bedroom door. Now, how long would you say it is from the chair to the door of this room?
I'd say it was 20 feet.
Just about.
20 feet is close enough. All right? Now, from the chair to the door and back has got to be double, or 40 feet. Now, it's a few feet shorter than the length that the old man had to move through, wouldn't you say?
A few feet, maybe.
This is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop him.
Do you mind if we try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. I believe we can spare that. Does anybody have a watch with a second hand?
I have.
You would like me to start? Stamp your foot. That'll be the body falling.
We'll time you from there.
Let's say he keeps his canes at his bedside.
Right.
Right. I'm ready.
I'm waiting for the hand to get to 60.
Speed it up. The old man walked twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even faster since the old man walked into the courtroom.
No, it isn't.
If you think I should move faster, I will.
Well, speed it up a little.
All right, stop.
Right.
The time.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
Well, that can't be.
39 seconds.
Now that's interesting.
Hey, now you know.
He may have been a little bit off on the times that the old man walked him, but 24 seconds off? Well, now you know. Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, but even allowing quite a difference in speed between the old man and you? Why, still, there's
quite a discrepancy.
My guess that the old man was trying to get to his front door, heard somebody racing down the stairs, and just assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Well, hang on now. Assumed? Now listen to me, all of you. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
You tell him. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slums and injustice, and you make up these wild stories. You've got a couple of soft-hearted sob sisters listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm sick of it all. What's the matter with you people? This boy is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull a switch.
For this good-for-nothing, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Oh, don't start with me.
What it must be like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up!
You're a sadist.
Shut up!
You want to see this boy die because it would satisfy you personally, because of the facts. You disgust me.
Will you shut up? Let me go! I'll kill him! I'll kill him!
You don't really mean you're going to kill me, do you?
What's going on in here?
Nothing. You can take that back. We're finished with it now.
Well, what are you people looking at?
Well, I just don't see why we have to behave like children.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is one of the most remarkable things about democracy, is that we are, wait, what is the word? Notified. Is that we are notified by mail to come down to this place to decide on the guilt or innocence of a person, of a man or woman we have not known before. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
Well, I, for one, am very glad that we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we're still nowhere. Oh no, we're somewhere. Or we're getting there, maybe.
Maybe.
Who's got an idea?
I think maybe we should try another vote. Madam Foreman?
It's all right with me. Does anyone not want to vote?
No, let's vote.
And I want us to call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
It's all right, let's do it.
Okay. I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
3?
Guilty.
4?
Guilty.
5?
Not guilty.
6?
Not guilty.
7?
Guilty.
8?
Not guilty.
9?
Not guilty.
10?
Guilty.
11?
Not guilty.
12?
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I tell you something, the crime is being committed right here in this room.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in this going on any longer.
Well, I, for one, would like to know why you changed your vote. And why you did. And why you did. There are 6 people in here who think we might be turning a murderer loose. Motion will not do. Why?
It would seem that the old man did not hear the boy running down the stairs. I do not think it is likely you hear him scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream. And if the boy did scream, "I'm going to kill you," we have the authority of this person, who it doesn't actually mean he's going to kill.
Why don't we take it into the judge and let the boy take his chances with 12 other jurors?
6 to 6. I don't think we're gonna ever agree on anything.
It's got to be unanimous. We're never going to convince him.
At first I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a reasonable doubt.
You can't ever convince me that there's a doubt, because I know there isn't no doubt.
I tell you what, maybe we are a hung jury. It happens sometimes.
We are not going to be a hung
Sure
jury.
we are. Right now, perfect balance. Let's bring it into the judge and we can all go home.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
The doubt is there, in my mind.
Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean vote?
Not again.
Yeah, vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean we're going to vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we're not?
It's just what I was thinking.
I don't think we could agree on whether or not we're a hung jury.
We can't even agree whether or not the window should be open.
Let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
So if 7 or more of us vote yes, that we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and tell him that we're a hung jury.
Yeah. And if 7 or more vote no, that means we aren't a hung jury and we go on discussing it.
So it doesn't seem right to me.
It's the only solution.
Anything to end this.
I agree, it's the only way.
Are we agreed then? 7 or more vote yes, and we go in and take it to the judge?
Yeah.
Let's call out our votes.
Okay. I vote yes, we're a hung jury. Number 2?
No.
3?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
5?
No.
6?
No.
7?
Yes.
8?
No.
9?
No.
10?
Yep.
11?
No.
12?
Yes.
Oh, no!
The vote is 6 to 6.
We
can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
Now, I went with the majority vote on this, and I didn't agree with voting that way. Not really. And I still don't. So I'm changing my vote. I vote no. We are not a hung jury. I still believe this boy is guilty of murder, but there are things I would like to know from those who have changed their minds.
Then we aren't a hung jury, so we go on discussing it.
Good. Go on.
Well, why did you change your mind?
He seems so sure and has made a number of good points, while he only gets mad and insults everybody.
Does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the boy? He did do it. Are you going to set a murderer loose in the streets because one juror gets angry when he thinks a murderer is getting set loose?
That's true.
There is a doubt. I don't think so. The track in front of the window is straight. Let's take that point. L trains make a low, rumbling noise. They only screech when they go around corners. So the old man could have heard a scream which was high-pitched. And please remember, they live in a tenement, and they have thin walls.
That's right. That's right.
The old man could have been wrong by the time it took him to get to the door, but right about whom he saw running down the stairs. Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints, and it is summer, so gloves are unlikely.
Now I want you all to listen to her. She's talking sense here.
And it would have taken a few seconds to get the handkerchief out of the pocket to wipe away the fingerprints, yes?
This is a point.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime.
As well as we can reconstruct it.
A thinker or a murderer can use up to about 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily at this point.
So let's reconstruct the killing.
Yes, let's.
We can reconstruct it.
You do the stabbing.
No. I'll do it.
All right. Well, then you'll be the one who gets stabbed. And remember, you take 1 second to fall.
And he was found on his side, his right side. So when you fall, roll on your right side. Now, if a person hates another person enough to murder them, don't you think it's reasonable to assume that the murderer would look at his victim for a second or two?
Try to divorce yourself from this particular case. Just human nature.
Yes, that seems possible.
And there is another point that we might want to bring out. If a person is mentally clear enough to wipe away the fingerprints after murdering someone, well, that person is clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or room in this case, if there are any other clues. It should only take a second or two, but he should look.
And another thing, he ends up on his right side, the father does, but stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even when it's right in the heart. The father would have worked around for a while, writhing there on the floor, maybe.
That's quite possible. He would have had enough oxygen in his system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds, I should suppose.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
Or maybe the boy held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
Now, what about the fingerprints? The boy wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknobs? If I saw a man come into my house wiping off the doorknobs with a handkerchief, I'd scream. I think a man would even have an uneasy feeling about that. So, the fingerprints must have been wiped after the killing, and this too would have taken some time.
Well, you time the last one. Why don't you time this one as well?
All right.
Stop your foot when you want us to start.
I'm waiting for the hand to get to 60.
I'm going to kill you. The murderer would have wiped both knobs, yes? All right, stop.
15, 20, 25, about 29 and a half seconds, I'd say.
And whoever did murder the boy, or murder the man, excuse me, whoever did murder the man still had to run down the hallway and down the stairs. And that is at least 1 flight of stairs.
You see? You see?
So I'm saying that the old man could have been wrong on the time, but in sight of this, I think it's quite possible to assume that the old man did see the boy.
So now both time sequences do check. The one you did and the one we did.
The story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore that it was 15 seconds.
And we all seem to agree that it was 25 to 35 seconds later.
Now you're admitting that the old man lied in a story and told the truth in the other. Now I do say that this does tend to prove the story of the old man, but he's now also a proven liar, by your own admittance.
I do agree that the old man lies in part, but I think I'll change my vote once more. Guilty.
And what about you? What do you think now?
I don't know. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty, then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
And what about you?
No. I am now in real doubt. Real doubt.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now, we're beginning to make some sense in here.
The vote seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
All right. One more question about the apartment. How many of you have lived in apartments?
I don't know what you are thinking of, but I know what I am thinking.
What's that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close. And there is just enough light in the hall to see to the steps. No more, the light bulbs are very small. And this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The policemen were using very large bulbs. One even had a flashlight.
And an old man who misjudged the killing by 24 seconds. On this we all agree. The old man looked down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognized a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took almost twice than he thought.
Then couldn't the old man be 100% wrong about who he saw?
Well, that's the most stupid thing I ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but perhaps you don't understand the words reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't understand it? Nerve of her. She comes over here running for her life, and before she can even catch her breath, she's telling us how to run ours. The nerve of her.
You're just asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your mother came from.
Maybe it would be a good idea to take advice from people who come running here. Maybe they know something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please. I'm used to this. It's all right. Thank you.
No, it's not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want.
All right, stop this arguing. Who
Right.
has something constructive to say?
I have. Well, something's been bothering me a little bit. This whole business about the stab wound, the downward angle of it, you know?
Oh, don't tell me we're going to start on that again. They went over it and over it in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father is 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who is 6 inches taller than you are.
All right. I'm going to give you a demonstration. Somebody get up. All right. I want you all to watch this closely. I don't want to have to do it again. Is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
All right, then let it be more.
Look out!
That's not funny.
What's the matter with you?
Oh, come on. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
Well, there's the angle of it, down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller person in the chest, and that's how it was done. Take a look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in, I guess there's no argument.
So, you were stabbed, huh?
Of course not.
What about you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
Then how do you know so much about how it's done?
Well, what do you mean? Just common sense.
Common sense. Here, why don't I show you? Look, doesn't this seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute. Give me that knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would never have stabbed downward. You use it underhand.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
Suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if you had any experience with switch knives. And we know that the boy had a lot of experience with switch knives.
No, I don't believe it.
Me neither. I think you guys are giving us a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you? Listen, I'll tell you something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing. Why don't we just stop all this arguing and go home? We're getting absolutely nowhere fast.
Before we go any further, I would like to try and pull all this together.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Hear him out anyway.
Do you want me to time this too?
Let's hear it.
I'm in advertising. I like to see things pulled together. Makes for good layouts. We could try and see if some pattern is there. We can try and get a fresh point of view on things, too.
I want all of you to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
Is this boy smart, or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
This is a boy who has gone to reform school for knifing someone. On the night of the murder, he was found with a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid boy to go and murder someone, his own father, with the very weapon that everyone would associate with the son.
Well, I quite agree. He's dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why would he make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect a different man?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone has got to take emotion, hatred. And in that moment, anyone would act as well as they could. A person that had been trained would handle that knife as they had been trained. Underhand. A man that had not been trained would do it overhand. But this boy is being very smart. The boy is smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect somebody else. This boy is a smart one. Smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away. Smart enough even to wait for an L train to roll by. Cover up the noise. Now, is the boy smart, or is he dumb?
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Well, the woman across the L tracks saw the murder through the L train, so someone on the L train could have seen the murder too.
Suppose so, but nobody did that we heard.
It would take an awfully dumb man to do a murder as a train went by.
Exactly. A dumb man. Very stupid man. A man swept by emotion. You know, probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train going by. And whoever did murder the man did it as well as they could. The boy is dumb enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect somebody else. But he's being smart. The boy is smart enough to wipe away the fingerprints, and yet, in the same instant, he's dumb enough to do the murder as a train is going by. To make this boy guilty, you have to say from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, he's dumb. And then starting at 12 o'clock, he becomes smart. And then dumb. And then smart. And then dumb. And then stupid. So stupid that he can't even think of a good alibi. Now, is the boy smart, or is he dumb? To make this boy guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt. Doubt. Doubt.
Well, I hadn't thought of that before.
And the old man downstairs, he swore that it was 15 seconds. On stand, he absolutely insisted on 15 seconds. Well, we all agree it must have been almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time and tell the truth the other half the time?
To make this boy guilty, you have to say that he's smart, and then dumb, and then smart, and then dumb. And also for the boy to be guilty, you have to say that the old man tells the truth half the time, and the other half of the time he lies. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I wanted more talk, and now I've had it.
I want another vote.
Okay, there's another vote call for. I guess the quickest way is show of hands. Does anyone object? Okay. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those voting guilty? 1, 2, 3. The vote is 9 to 3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you possibly believe this boy is innocent? I don't have to tell you how those people lie. They don't know the meaning of the truth. And let me tell you, they don't need any real big reason to kill anybody either. They get drunk and pow, someone's lying in the gutter. Nobody's blaming them. You know what I mean. Violent. Hey, where are you going? I'm trying to tell you something. Human life don't mean as much as it does to us. These people are drinking and fighting all the time. And if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. Hey, come back here. This boy on trial, I'm trying to tell you something.
I've had enough! If you open your mouth one more time, I swear I will rip that illiterate tongue right out of your head!
I'm just trying to tell you
something. Sit down, everyone! Now, I still believe this boy is guilty of murder, and I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who claimed she actually saw the murder committed.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
All right, then let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. The woman said that she went to bed at around 11 o'clock. Her bed is next to the open window, and while laying in bed, if she turns on her side, she can see directly out the window into the window across the street. The woman tossed and turned for about an hour, unable to fall asleep. And finally, at about 12:10, the woman laid on her side, and just as she looked out her window, she saw the boy stab his father. In sight of this, I think it is an unshakable testimony.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole case.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
I don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish this in the morning. My little girl's in boats.
Not a chance.
You can't see the clock without your glasses.
Not clearly. Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
The woman in the stand, she wore glasses, right?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course, the woman wore bifocals. They looked quite strong.
Bifocals. Yes, she never took them off.
Funny, I didn't think of that before.
You guys don't wear your glasses to bed, do you?
Of course not. Nobody wears their glasses to bed.
Okay, so what do you do in the middle of the night when you wake up and you don't want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and I look at the clock. I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. My father gave it to me and my husband as a wedding present. It was a few years before we found anywhere in the house to put it.
The woman on the stand, she wore glasses. She wore them to the case. Now, she said that she tossed and turned, and the minute she looked out that window, she saw the boy stab his father, and then the lights went out a second later. Now, I don't think that she put on her glasses to glance casually out the window. The woman may have thought that she honestly saw the boy stab his father. In light of this, I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe the woman was far-sighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anybody else still think there is not a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder, but there is a reasonable doubt.
What about you?
No. I am now convinced. There is a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
11 not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I've got a right.
Yes, you have a right.
Well, I think the boy's guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We'd like to hear them again. We have time.
All right. Everything, and I mean everything about this case says he's guilty. What do you think I am, an idiot or something? Everything. There's the old man who lived downstairs and heard everything. Or the knife. What, because we found one exactly like it? Or you can't prove he didn't get to the door. Sure, you can take all the time hobbling around, but you can't prove it. The knife falling through a hole in his pocket. Or that story about the L train, or the movies. Now there's a phony deal if I ever heard one. Well, I bet you $5,000 that I remember the movies I saw. Or this business with the glasses. How do you know she didn't have them on? Well, I got the whole case right here. I'm telling you, everything that's gone on here has been twisted and turned, everything. Well, say something. Listen, you gotta help me. You're the one who made all the arguments. A guilty man, a murderer, is gonna be walking the streets. You've gotta stay with me.
I am sorry to you. I do not think I am wronged very often, but this time I was. There is a reasonable doubt.
It's gonna be a hung jury, and that's it.
Well, suppose there's nothing we can do about that, except hope in a couple months, why, you might be able to get some sleep.
You're all alone. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If it is a hung jury, some of us will point out these things we've discussed here to various lawyers.
All right.
We're waiting. Not guilty.
Not guilty.